Hey guys, in this second video we're going to be talking about how to play with the band, how to fit in best with the band, going over four separate sections, chord choices and kind of intervals and which chords to play, octaves, which section of the keyboard to play in, also making sure you're playing with rhythm simplicity, and then transitions specific to from one song to another. On this first section we're going to talk about chord structures and inversions and everything. We're going to use All Things Together as an example. The four chords of the chorus that kind of repeats is the C to the G to the E minor to the D. Depending on how you were learned piano, playing the basics of those chords would be something like that. Which sounds fine and is correct, but you're going to get a lot more effective way of playing that, and you've got some different voices kind of leading out in that if you can play different inversions of the chords, but that keeps your hands real close together, such as this. So I barely moved my right hand at all on that, and I was just moving the left hand on the bass notes. Second section is octave choices. Really, you're going to play what's true to the recording most of the time. So using All Things Together again as an example, it's got that nice warm piano intro. If you played it in the wrong octave, it's not going to sound as inviting. Sounds pretty, and it's correct still, but it's not that nice, gritty, warm intro that you are used to hearing now. So a lot of times when you're choosing octave choices, you also want to be thinking where the other members of the band are as well. Again, most of the time, if you're playing what's true to the recording, you're gonna be in that space that you need to be. But also be thinking and making sure you can hear what the other members are playing as well. All right, so moving on to rhythm simplicity. We're gonna use the chorus of All Things Together again as the example. If you're playing it true to the recording, it's gonna be very simple. You're probably gonna be bored, especially on the intro and verse stuff as well, but specific to the chorus, I'm just real basically hitting the chords. You might get barely busier as the song gets bigger, but that as opposed to a lot of times you're going to feel like you need to fill more space rhythmically. Don't. You just need to hit the chords real simple, and it's going to feel so much better. This last section, we're going to talk through transitions. Coming out of All Things Together in the key of G, I'm going to do two examples, a couple different ways, going into the key of F and then going into the key of E. These are very specific to those key changes, but this would give you kind of mainly two different ways that I would do this. So playing through that last progression, most of the time we're going to land on the C. So that C chord is a common chord in the key of G and the key of F. So landing on that C, you can just kind of hang on the C for long enough to where it comes out of tempo. And then real gentle. I didn't even turn the piano off. I just barely pressed into it and the pad came in. But also very important, I didn't turn the pad down. Pad staying consistent through that is very helpful in that transition. Another way that you can do it, again, that worked out well because you had a common chord. A lot of times you have two different keys that don't really flow well enough together. You need to actually fade out and come back in the new key. So going through that last transition again. again, enough time, and you can slowly fade it out. Once it's all gone, you want to be very quick to get ready to go in the next. Lift the pedal, plug in your next key, and then also slowly pull it back in. So I'll do that in time in a second. And that's going to E, which landing on a C and going to the key of E is not as easy. So that's why I faded out. All right, so now doing that in time, how I would do it in service. And it's kind of a final extra nugget on transitions. There's a couple other pretty specific but pretty common ways that you would want to utilize other members of the band or do something a little different. Have a good relationship with your electric players. They can hold down a pad very well, pad type sound. A lot of times you have a specific lead part or hard enough transition that you kind of need them to bridge the gap, and you can completely come out. You're changing enough stuff, getting ready. One specific song is the Soul Survival version of Build My Life. That's very specific keys lead part. When you're getting ready for that, it's very nice to have them kind of bridge the gap in that transition. Also, if you have a big opener upbeat song and kind of have a trash can intro and you're going straight into another one, that's also a great time for, while the band is kind of trash canning out, you can fully turn down and be ready in that next key to go when they're fading out. Like when they're fading out, you can be fading in with the new one because you're not really adding a whole lot in those trash can moments.